his responsibility for the brigade to Command Sergeant Major Jessie C. Harris, Jr. The host for today's ceremony is Colonel Rice will relinquish his responsibility for the brigade to Command Sergeant Major Jessie C. Harris, Jr. The host for today's ceremony is Colonel Sidney W. Melton, Commander of the 916th Support Brigade. The Commander of Troops is Master Sergeant Nikita M. James, Operations Sergeant Major for the 916th Support Brigade. Please rise for the invocation given by Chaplain Perticone and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Will present a bouquet of red roses to Mrs. Rice in sincere appreciation and gratitude for all of her support and many contributions to the brigade. Red is the color of the heart and is appropriate considering the loving concern she has shown to the soldiers and their families for the past 24 months. The roses are in full bloom, symbolizing the beauty and fulfillment of her time with the command. A bouquet of yellow roses to Mrs. Harris in appreciation for her continued support. The yellow rosebuds symbolize her arrival to the 916th Support Brigade. With time, the buds will blossom, as will her relationship with the soldiers and families of the command. Since the birth of the National Training Center on 9 August 1979, the elements of this brigade have played a pivotal role in the success of the NTC mission and the training of generations of warfighters. The initial units included the NTC Material Management Center, MMC, and the NTC COR Support Battalion, CSB. The brigade was initially established under the Deputy Non-Commissioned Officer Sword. It is a completely functional weapon, not intended for display, but rather for hard and dedicated use. While no longer part of the Army's inventory, American sergeants wore it for over 70 years, during which occurred the Mexican-American War, the Civil War, and the Spanish-American War. The passing of the sword signifies the relinquishing of responsibility and authority from the outgoing Command Sergeant Major to the incoming Command Sergeant Major. Sergeants Major may come and go, but the sword remains razor sharp. Staff Sergeant Finley, as the brigade's latest Sergeant Audie Murphy Club inductee, has the additional responsibility of the keeper of the Brigade Non-Commissioned Officer Sword, the brigade's symbol of the authority of the non-commissioned officer. Staff Sergeant Finley will now present the sword to Master Sergeant James. Master Sergeant James will now pass the sword to Command Sergeant Major Rice in final deference to his authority and leadership. Command Sergeant Major Rice passes the sword to Colonel Melton, the brigade commander, signifying the relinquishing of his duties and gratitude for the opportunity to care for the brigade's fine soldiers. The brigade commander passes the sword to Command Sergeant Major Harris, delegating authority and entrusting him with the responsibility and care of the brigade. Command Sergeant Major Harris then passes the sword back to Master Sergeant James, symbolizing his dedication to the soldiers of the brigade and the continuity of the NCO support channel. Master Sergeant James returns the brigade sword back to Staff Sergeant Finley to safekeep and maintain.
Prepared to do anything ceremoniously here at the National Training Center. So if you would please join me in giving them a warm round of applause for all their support. As always, you're sharp as a tack, so well done. Hey, Vanessa and I are truly humbled by this outpouring of support for this occasion. I turned around briefly and I was in awe at everybody that was here. It was either for that or it's to actually make sure that we're actually leaving the installation. So thank you for your unwavering support and friendship to our family. You're all definitely added to the Christmas card list now. Realizing that we were appointed to this position and not anointed to this position, we realized that it's over. And while praying to figure out what I was going to say today, Vanessa warned me not to be too charming, not to be too witty, or not to be too intelligent. She just said, be yourself. I didn't know how to take that. So I did realize that because few will remember what I say, you'll definitely remember how long I said it. So with that, I'll try to be, I originally said as a good skirt, but I kind of like her coat today, so I'll be like her good coat. Long enough to cover the subject matter, but short enough to keep your attention. Joke's killing right now. Thank you so much.
Mayor of Bear Lake, Big Bear Lake, Mayor Corretto, Barstow City Councilman, Mr. McIntyre, Mayor of Barstow, Mr. Dale, to all the commanders and command teams that are here today, and a special thank you to your spouses, those spouses that came out to be a part of this occasion with myself and my family. Thank you all very, very much for being here this morning. To the visitors, friends, families, soldiers of the 916th and the Fort Irwin community, thank you for taking time out this morning. First, I would like to give honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because truly without him, I would not be standing before you today. So I give all praise and honor to him. To my lovely wife, Shonda, for the past 21 years, who's been my biggest cheerleader and biggest fan, in the good times and the bad times. She was always there saying, it's gonna be all right, you can do it. So thank you, honey, and I really love you and I appreciate you. To those two young men sitting over there, Marcellus and Gabriel, thank you for being some of the greatest children anyone could ask for. I'll tell you, in all my times of being away, I've never had problems or issues out of either one of the three. So I thank you all and for sharing your dad with everyone else, and I truly appreciate that. So Team Harris, we're here. I will tell you we're excited, yet we're humbled by this opportunity to continue to serve America's sons and daughters and our Army's greatest asset, these individuals and these soldiers that are represented before you here today. We look forward to continuing to build the great community that is here and partnering with you to continue providing world-class sustainment support to the combat formations that train here at the Army's premier combat training center.